Hello, hello, hello. Sir David the Bard coming in for a landing again. Coming in from Kangaroo City. Light man. Light me up. That's what I used to tell the girls at BYU when they'd call standards and I'd be in trouble again. Anyway, let me start. I don't know if you can see this color. This is one of my underwear, which it's not garments anymore. Well, there really are garments, but I got really, really big, so they're little garments. When you marry a Filipino girl, make sure you teach her not to mix the colors with the whites. Now, I'm not talking about the KKK. I'm talking about I have pink underwear. My mom used to always say, well, what if you go to the hospital? They'll see your underwear. And I worried about that, so I tried to stay out of hospitals. I've got a show today that I think is funny. You might not. You know, I bought my gun lately here, I've told you. For protection. 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 Constitutional right protection. And in Utah, the law is that you can walk around with a loaded gun strapped to your belt like the old Wild Wild West, and it's legal. Welcome to Mormonville. Welcome to Mormonville. But anyway, you know, if you can't beat the Mormons, you gotta join them. I don't mean their church, I mean their ways. So anyway, the Mormons have, over the years of the history of the Mormon Church and Utah, developed gun laws to reflect them. They're paranoid. They're nerds. They're short. They have little man syndrome, and they believe that the laws of the United States don't apply to them. Brigham Young with the polygamy, and you know, I'm not going to go into all that history again. You can go look at my other videos. But anyway, the gun laws in Utah, and I have to be careful because most of my visitors, video people, viewing audience, see, they're all V's, and when you have dementia, it drops down through all the V's, and you have to say each one. So I decided, well, I can walk around with a loaded 45, and actually there can be, I think there can be a cartridge in the chamber that all you have to do is pull it up and pull the trigger, and that's legal in Utah as long as everyone can see the gun that is shooting them. So anyway, the Mormons are scared of the federal government. The Mormons are scared of anybody who's been in their church and left their church on their own, resigned members. So their gun laws still reflect the Wild Wild West. So I decided, well, what if I want to hide the gun? They go, oh no, you can't hide the gun in Utah. You have to have it visible. Then you can have a gun and walk around. There's a few places that you can't go with a gun in Utah. Not very many, but a few. One of them is Brigham Young University. Surprise! The rest of them are all federal facilities, but BYU and the Mormon churches exclude themselves from the gun laws. No one can bring a gun to sacrament meetings. Remember, there's a lot of parody in my show and not much humor. There have been plenty of sacrament meetings I used to go to that maybe if the audience all had guns, there'd be better talks. I don't know. It could be, may not be. Anyway, I say, well, how do I get a hidden? I was going to wear my gun right here, and I was going to Velcro it up here in protest of the gun laws in Utah. I am a gun advocate now. I've changed over 70 years. But if you put it like that, you go where Joseph Smith is right now. Gone. You go to jail. So anyway, he said, well, why don't you take a concealed weapons class? And I said, well, I don't want to talk about my penis. I just want to know about my gun. He said, no, that's what we call a concealed weapon. Your gun is hidden. Oh, I said, I thought that was my penis. Well, in your case, neither's true. Anyway, okay, I'm going to sign up. So I call around, and I find this, and I'm going to be careful on this video, because you know I need to be careful. I fly in a lot to Utah from Kangaroo City here, and one of the places you can't take a gun, and I think is reasonable in Utah, is the airport. You can take a gun to the airport in Utah, except where there's the security starting. When security starts in the airport to load the people, or line the people up, you can't take a gun in there, but you can take a gun to baggage. And if someone's trying to get your bag, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to let you use your imagination, because you know why. So anyway, I said, okay, I'm going to sign up. Well, it was $40, and they said, well, it's a 4-hour class. Now let me tell you something. You can't learn to masturbate in 4 hours. How can you learn? There's Monson.
Here is the message. Pick me up,
I can't hear the message, and I don't care what the message is. So anyway, I'm not going to mention names, and I'm not going to mention facilities, because I sometimes have to visit Utah, and all the people that I'm talking about had concealed weapons permits, so, you know, do you criticize those people or not? I don't think so. So anyway, I signed up for the class, and I go there, and I'm very careful about the law. I want to make sure that, you know, the law is obeyed, no matter what the law is, if that's what the state says. Well, all the people that were going there had a gun case, and like a little temple suitcase thing. I had to say that one. And they would carry their guns. God, we had 10 girls there, 10 women there, young girls. And I'm the only one that's got my gun in my hand. I don't have a gun case. I thought that was a concealed weapon. I didn't want to get charged with, you know, not having the gun show. So I had it in my hand. It showed very good. They cleared that up. It's a concealed weapon is on your person. If you put your gun here, you're okay. If you put your gun here, you're okay. But if you put the gun underneath somewhere and no one can see it, then it's not okay. Anyway, I went to the class. Now, one of the things that started is the instructor, and I won't name him or her or him. He got up, and he was probably a little bit younger than I was. He's probably maybe 60, 58, 60. He had been in every gun organization in existence. I don't know if he was in the KKK or not. I don't know. But this guy gave us a 10-minute resume. Gun master this. Gun here. Gun inspector. Gun, Nevada, Utah, Kolob. I mean, this guy knew everything about a gun. He could name a gun from, you know, a toy gun, which he had a toy gun, but he had a couple of real guns too. And all the way up to bazookas and missile launchers and whatever. The guy knew everything. And he made sure we knew that, I guess because a little bit of pride and maybe some acceptance that he really knows what he's talking about. But anyway, he gave us a resume, and I want to make a real strong emphasis on this because this is a big part of the story. He knows everything about every gun ever invented. Now, I don't know if he was a Mormon. When he mentioned his mission, I won't say where because that could identify him. When he mentioned his mission, I got suspicious. When he said he talked to the bishop, when the Mormon church says you can't bring a gun into the chapel, his bishop says, oh, screw them. So he carries his gun in the chapel. When he mentioned the bishop and the mission and a few other things, I became suspicious he might be Mormon. And when he lifted up his arms and you could see his magic underwear, I guess it was bulletproof, I don't know, I was more suspicious. So anyway, now I gotta sit there, guys. I can't be raising my damn hand and going, bringing up in a gun class my questions. There will not be a permit. I'll guarantee you there won't be a permit. I had some questions and other people generally ask the questions. Well, anyway, he knew everything about guns and we were there for like an hour and a half and he's telling us state laws and federal laws and, don't shoot people and how to store your gun in a safe. I was stupid enough. Only the bard would raise his hand. I am for safety in a household, certainly. Young children shouldn't be around guns. But if you have a gun for home protection, and you have it in the safe upstairs, and someone breaks in, and they go, we're going to rape your wife and cut your children's head off. Excuse me, could I go up to the safe? Okay, I'm ready. I said, what happened to the old days when you slept with your gun under your pillow? He says, well, some people wake up in a dream, grab their gun and start shooting people. I didn't think about that. I haven't heard a lot about that, but maybe that does happen. I don't know. So anyway, I didn't want to ask too many more questions. A long story long, we decided to go down and start shooting. It's an indoor gun range. And there was probably 25 to 40 people in the class. And like I said, about a third of them were female. Cute little gals. But anyway, everyone's looking at big 45. Also my gun. No. What's wrong with the bard? Anyway, Anyway, we all went down there, putting clips in and getting ready, and the instructor was with each shooter, one at a time, and certifying that we knew the gun and that we had shot it, that we were not ignorant. So we're down there and bam, bam, bam. It sounded like a war. It sounded like a war down there. And they had these two targets. Now, they were about, 8 or 10 feet away. And so everybody generally was hitting the target. It was close enough. So finally, it's my turn. 40 people have gone through. No incidents, no accidents, no problems. The bard. Jesus hates me. It's mutual. Anyway, I take my clip, slam it in. Load the chamber. Says, okay, 2 shots there, 2 shots left, 2 shots right, and 1 wherever you want it. You got it! Click. 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 God, there's something. I didn't do that. There's something wrong in there. He comes up, or he's standing beside me and says, I think there's something wrong. Now, I'm not a gun expert, okay? I haven't shot a gun for probably 20 years. And so I want to say ejaculated, but we didn't ejaculate. We ejected. E is E for dementia. We ejected 1 or 2 shells, and they wouldn't even eject right. So he says, well, this clip is probably wrong. Okay, so I had 2 other clips with me, so I grab another one, slam it in, click, click. Now everyone's looking at me. God damn. He brings a gun and it has no ability to shoot. There's real protection. Hit the dude with your gun. I don't know. Throw your gun. So anyway, I tried all 3 magazines and none of them would work. But he cocked it once and he says, I think there's one in the chamber. He says, I'll give it a shot. Boom! there was one in the chamber. It's an automatic, or semi-automatic. It wouldn't bring the next shell up into the casing, into the chamber. He says, I think there's really something wrong with your gun. You really need to take it to a gunsmith, but you've shot it and that qualifies you. You don't have to have 5 shots. 1 shot's good enough. Okay. Now this is a brand new gun. It's the only bullet it ever shot at the gun range. So I put the gun in the back of the car and I'm driving home. I passed the class and I guess I'm going to get a permit here in the next couple of months. And I'm driving home, and you know the Bard, being bipolar, I process very quickly and many issues. And I said to myself, first of all, it's an American-made gun. You don't make a defaulty gun in America on American soil, you're going to go out of business. Number 2, I had the best range master in the world. He said there's something wrong with my brand new gun. Who am I to go? I don't know, and I guess he's right. He knows intercontinental ballistic nuclear missiles. He must be looking at my shit gun and going, it's a piece of shit. Anyway, I got thinking. Now I bought my, I'm not going to name the store, okay? I bought my ammunition at where they sell meat, bicycles, car batteries. So I go into the clerk. Says I need to buy some 45 caliber hollow point 80 gram bullets from my 45. Okay. So he reaches over, gets a box, puts it down. I'll take it. So I paid him the 20 bucks. I'm driving home and I'm saying to myself, for that gun and 3 magazines to coincidentally just not work. Number 1, I would have been killed if, you know, guy jumps in, I'm gonna kill you. Okay, click. I'm gonna hit you with my gun like an old woman. So anyway, I was glad to know that the gun was defective, so I thought, well, I don't know what the warranty is on a gun. So I take it back over to the store where I bought the gun. I said, hey, this is a piece of shit. I went to the range and it only fired 1 bullet. He says, well, is it empty? And I said, well, I think it is. And he cocks it back and he goes, it's not empty, there's something in there. So he's using all these little tools and he pulls out the casing. The bullet really left the barrel of the gun, but the casing never got ejected and it's jammed in the gun. Well, he pulls the casing out and he said, look at this. And I said, what's wrong? He's first of all, it's black. And I said, well, I didn't know you had to have a white bullet. So, well, the KKK, no. Anyway, he says, the bullet blew up the casing. I said, well, how'd that happen? He said, well, I think you have defective ammunition here. Let me look. So, he takes 1 clip. He pulls 1 bullet out. He goes, here's the problem. You've got 40 caliber bullets. You need 45. Your bullets are too small. I said, I don't want to talk about my penis anymore. No, the bullet's in the gun. Okay. So, 10 seconds. He identified the problem because on the back, or on the bullet, it says 40, not 45. Immediately he knew. And immediately when he pulled that casing out, he said, that bullet exploded in the chamber, and God thankful that it went out the barrel, but the casing went the other way, and the gun saved it from shooting your face off. Huh. He says, you sure? Well, let me put some 45 caliber here in the clip. Slams it in the clip. Bam, 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 bam. Hey, it works. So, it wasn't bad ammunition. It was the wrong ammunition. Now, you can say, and some of you will, and I've thought about it, do you go back to the store and say, your clerk sold me the wrong ammunition and it almost killed me? Well, how do you prove that? You have to, put black gunpowder on your face. I don't know how you prove that. So for that 20 bucks, I pretended It was tithing. It went nowhere. It did nothing to help me or my family. I just let the 20 bucks go. Now, here's where I'm concerned. There are about 35, maybe 40 people in the class. I was the tallest one there, and I'm shrinking. There were men there. I'm not going to say it was a midget parade. I think that would be philosophically wrong. No, what's the word? Correct. God damn, I love dementia because I enjoy it. I don't give a shit what you think. Dementia is cool. They were all midgets. All the men that were with me. There's one guy my size, 6 feet, right in there. The rest of them were like 4'11" and weighed 110 pounds. And I looked around and I said, you know what? These look like the kids we beat up in high school through our food act. I'm not sure these kind of people need to have a gun now, but I guess they feel that they do, so no one's going to beat them up anymore. I think what did I hear? That God made man, but Colt made man equal. Colt 45 back in the Old West. So short men that have guns are dangerous, just like big men that have guns can be dangerous, and women. So anyway, I can tell you always in Utah who the gun advocates are and who's carrying a concealed weapon. They're 4'11". They wear big old thick glasses. They're kids that you can imagine, or young people that you can imagine somebody was beating up in high school and they're probably carrying. So don't screw with them. The big guys you can kick in the ass. You can do whatever you want to a big guy, but these little guys that have guns, you gotta be careful. So that was one of my concerns, is everybody there, the men were shorter and lighter than the women. They were nerds that were paranoid and they needed to have a gun. Now, here's my other concern. And I want to be careful because I want you to use your imagination. My viewers have imaginations, except some of the Mormons have no common sense and no imagination, but the rest of you do. If you were at a gun range with a brand new gun and 3 clips of ammunition that the gun wouldn't accept, and you know every gun in the world, and you've trained thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people in gun safety and gun familiarity, and that gun wouldn't take a bullet, wouldn't you think he'd pull a clip out, take a bullet out, and go, Jesus Christ, these are only 40 millimeter, 40 caliber. You need a 45, this is the wrong ammunition. That's why it's not working, it's dangerous. We get another one in the cartridge, it goes off like that, who knows where it's gonna do. I figured that out on my way home to go to the gun store. I reprocessed and I don't have that much gun experience. I've never had a gun misfire on me. All the guns that my wife shot at me, the bullets went out and I was dancing like in the old Wild West. Dance, sucker, dance. I never saw a bullet failure. So I'm driving to the bullet store where I bought the gun, and I thought, you know, a brand new gun, 3 clips, will not accept the bullets. I wonder if I have the wrong bullets. I knew that before I went into the store. The guy opens it up and says, you got one jammed in there, let me get it out. We looked at it and immediately it was just blown up all over the place, and he said, this isn't right. He takes one bullet out, he says, it's 40 caliber. You need a 45, you got the wrong ammunition in there. He's an expert. He caught it in 10 or 15 seconds. I'm driving home, it took me 30 minutes to go, all the combinations, it has to be the ammunition. It's got to be either the clip is not feeding it up, but 3 clips not feeding it up, eliminate that. So anyway, I came to the conclusion, and he came to the conclusion, it was the wrong ammunition. Well, that was scary. I learned. that the ammunition gauge is printed on the bullet. I didn't know that, but now I do. Now, here's my biggest concern. When you have the most renowned expert in the state of Utah teaching, I used to teach, and you've seen it all. When you're a mechanic and all you do is transmissions, you know transmissions. How come that renowned expert didn't say, shit, give me that gun? This has happened before. I think you got the wrong ammo in there. Now, maybe it never has happened before. Maybe it never happened before. So he may not have that experience. But somewhere, someone's made a video where it's on the, oh my God, he read every magazine, he knew every name, he knew every person. He was a renowned expert, and he never said, give me that clip, let me check the ammunition. This is what worries me a little bit, and most of you, that guns, they're very dangerous, they're deadly, they have to be secured, and they certainly have a right to be owned by our Constitution. Most of the people who have guns don't know shit. Common sense. Fucking common sense. Pull that clip out of there. Let me look at that bullet. Oh God, it's the wrong caliber. But can take a nuclear missile apart blindfolded. Something wrong here? Well, you decide. I'm not going to draw a conclusion. If you have the most renowned expert in the state of Utah teaching you, and your gun misfires, won't load the cartridges, and they don't say, let me look at the bullet and make sure it's the right bullet, that scares me. That scares me. Because he's the smart one. All those little dummy midgets standing up there pulling the trigger, they're not as smart as he is. He's the smart one. Now, let me end this with my change in life. I'm almost 70. I had guns a couple of times for recreation, shooting cans and whatever, target practicing. But when I had small kids in the house, I got rid of my guns. I thought they were too dangerous. And back in those days, we didn't really have gun safes. We had gun racks and gun cases. They had glass on them, so you could break the glass like a fire notification in an office building, take out the gun. That wasn't much safety. So anyway, I've changed. If you've got small kids, goddamn, you've got to have a safe. You've got to have that thing, because they'll bring their friends home, and older friends will take it out, load it, and somebody will get killed accidentally. That doesn't happen very often. But anyway, here's what I'm saying. I looked at lately the Paris terrorist shooting and the San Bernardino, and God, you go on and on and on. All the schools, the movie theater where some maniac goes into a movie theater or a school and has an automatic weapon and just starts shooting humans like it's a video game. I learned, now that we're living in the age of violence, we didn't have this shit when I was a kid. We went to the movies, and the worst thing we did is we chewed up a Tootsie Roll, threw it at the screen, and it would stick. That was a terrorist crime in the 60s and 70s. Nowadays, you have people that just go in with live ammunition and an automatic weapon and start killing people. The world has changed, and the BARD has changed. Here's what I say now. If everybody in Paris, everybody in that movie theater, and everybody that is around where terrorist people have slaughtered people in schools and theaters, if they'd all owned the gun, there would have never been so much carnage. Everybody would have pulled their gun out and shot the shit out of the terrorists. That's the end of the terrorists. No trial, no guns, no, investigation, no dead kids. I'm sorry to say it, but we've progressed in the world thanks to See, I want to say northeast. It's not northeast. It's eastern people. You know, the ones that have the funny hat on their head. We have progressed in America to a terrorism state. And we have now enough crazy people that can get on the internet and make bombs and you know, cohort with other, you know, patients and do harm to your children and my children. I'm saying now everybody should own a gun. I'm going to ask you this, especially you females. Half of you that watch me are females. Do you think you'd be raped if you were carrying a gun? Do you think rape would be a reasonable, possible probability? Now, it's not going to stop 100% every rapes, but 90%, I bet it would stop. I bet it would stop. These little gals I was with yesterday, they weren't 5 feet and 90 pounds. You grab one of those, you're going to eat a 9mm or 2. Rapes would disappear if every woman owned a gun. Home invasion, robberies, grocery stores, 7-Elevens, all these convenient places that these morons break into or come in with a gun and say, give me all your money. You just reach in the register and say, here's a couple of 9mm for you, and then let's see if you want my money. I'm certainly not advocating violence. I'm certainly not advocating insanity, that we go back to the Old West. I am asserting that if the common people had guns, like the criminals have guns, the common people would be safer. When you can go into a theater or a restaurant or a school and just kill 20 people and then put a new magazine in and start going again, that would not happen if there were guns in the room. If the teacher had a gun and shot the terrorist or the criminal, same way with bank robberies and other things, I really think the world would be a safer place if the criminal began to believe everybody's got a gun. I better go in there knowing there's a damn good shot that I'm going to get killed. They may not rob as much. They may not. Now, I did hear in the class, there's more stabbings now because people either can't get guns or whatever. You know, you can survive a stabbing a little bit better than a Colt or a 45. So anyway, the Bard now is a gun advocate. First Amendment, I fall in line with most of the Utahns now. Not because I'm a nerd, not because I believe that I can't take care of myself. But as I get older and I get more frail and I can't stand or balance, I would think I'm more of a target. And if you can't hit the side of a barn, you could kill a barn. If you're a bad shot, it's big enough you can kill it. So I'm certainly not advocating indiscriminate craziness with guns. But I am advocating that if all of the criminals knew we, the citizens, also had guns, knew how to use them, and we know the law. If I come upon someone being raped, I can blow the face right off the front of that man, and that's legal to help someone who's committing a felony like that, aggravated felony. So anyway, the permit process is not difficult. It's not real expensive, and as long as you keep the gun in your purse, girls, you know, when you're walking at night, you can put your hand in your purse, put your hand right on the trigger, or get it ready to put your hand on the trigger. Someone's following you, or someone's coming up and you believe your life is in danger or that you're going to experience imminent danger or death, you can pull the trigger. That's the end of the story in Utah. That's the end of the story right there in Utah. So anyway, be careful of experts. They don't know everything. I do now. If a gun misfires, first thing I'm going to do is pull out the ammunition. First thing I'm going to do. I'm not going to keep cocking it and trying to force bullets into a chamber that's not accepting. There's a reason that chamber is not accepting that bullet. And if it's a brand new gun, it can't be worn, it can't be broken. So anyway, be careful. Live the law. And First Amendment, I wouldn't mess with a girl ever that had a gun. If she said, take the garbage downstairs, I'm going to be the garbage man. You can't use your gun that way. And you can't show it and say, see what I got? Move over. That's against the law. There's no brandishing laws in Utah. If you call attention to your gun and or you point it at somebody, that's an aggravated assault. And you're going to go to jail. So you got to be very careful. There's laws, but the laws are there to protect the innocent people. And you and me are going to be on the jury. All right, the bar is gone. I got to get to the little kangaroos, and I got to get some breakfast.